Hey, I want to check in with you today. So what we're wanting to do, one of my buddies also has a 4Runner, and he got a rooftop tent that's coming in. It's a Nature's Nest. It's supposed to be here in another couple days, but we're trying to figure out how we should basically get it up on top of the 4Runner. It's not going to fit inside his garage, about the same as my garage. It's about 80 something inches tall, so it won't fit. And so we've been trying to come up with a way to basically get the tent up by himself and remove it with just one person. So what we came up with is, basically, you can go to Harbor Freight, you can get a engine hoist kind of jack, and we went through and looked at if we extended or added some more metal and what that would take to basically crane up over the top of the 4Runner. That way he can drop it on top of his roof rack by himself. And so yesterday we went to Harbor Freight and picked up a 1-ton engine hoist. And I'll put a link in the description. It's just a generic 1-ton Pittsburgh engine hoist. And then we went to a local metal supermarket it's actually what it's called, metal supermarket here in Alabama. But we got some 2x2 square tube that's a 0.250 wall, which should be a 1/4 inch wall. And we cut it up and made all our measurements, and I'll throw in some pictures and some time lapse of that. It was sort of hard to video with it being loud and welding and whatnot, but that's what we're trying to do today. So I'm going to take you back outside of the garage, sort of show you the engine hoist and the arm that we built, and then go from there as far as getting it painted and getting it set up, and I'll show you an example of how it's going to work. All right, so I'm back outside. This is the hoist that we were talking about. So this is a 1-ton engine hoist that you can get from Harbor Freight. Basically, we've added some modifications to it. We've got 2 side pieces that we extended the feet out with that you can see on either side, and then also this piece at the bottom. But everything else is from Harbor Freight for their 1-ton engine hoist. So this piece is what we bought at the metal supermarket, spray painted it, cut it, and I can give you the measurements here in a minute as well. And then also with that extending out of the front of the hoist over the 4Runner or Jeep. In our case, we're going to use it for the 4Runner and having a rooftop tent. We wanted to extend the legs out on the ground, so whenever it booms over top of the 4Runner or whatever kind of car it is, that it doesn't want to tilt or do anything funny with it. So anyway, let me put it on a tripod and I'll open it up and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so this is the setup with it fully deployed. As you can see, we extended the legs. We basically just took the same style tubing that basically the Harbor Freight one is, and extended it. Each leg is 4 foot long that we extended it, and it's a 2.5 inch OD wall tube. So basically, let me see here, from where the Harbor Freight leg ends right here, we basically extended it out right at 30 inches. So you can see it's right at 30 inches. But yeah, so we basically just got 2 4-foot sections. We drilled a hole here on both sides all the way through. And that one actually stays and is basically the pivot point. And then this is the one we did a notch on, and the pin comes through. So whenever you fold it up, you unpin this and it allows it to swing up and store inside the unit. And then when it's out like this, then it's fully locked and it doesn't want to give. So it's still, we took the wheels off the bottom of the Pittsburgh piece and moved it all the way out to the bottom of our new piece. It's using the same wheels, same height, but that gives us a lot more leverage as far as it going under the vehicle, since we went with this longer arm up top. It's a 2x2 1/4 inch wall that we went up and cut, and then did a brace and welded it all through there. And it goes all the way around both sides. Just did a tack weld, and then underneath it we did a weld as well. And then it actually goes inside the tube that came with Harbor Freight, and it slides all the way back and hits this pin. And then we also drilled a hole, I don't have it all the way through, but we drilled a hole that goes through this tube, goes through the black tube, and goes through our tube. and secures it from coming out that way. But that should allow us to get up over top of a 4Runner to do this tent, or if we want to do a hardtop on the Jeep. But yeah, so that's it. I'll get my 4Runner out and show you how that looks. So that's basically the setup and the thought of how this is going to work. So we would have the tent up top hanging from a hook. We'll use straps to be able to do that. We'll basically have it on the ground, jack it up, slide it underneath the car, and then lower it down to a certain point, and then use the straps to lower it down and drop it on the roof rack. But that's basically the thought and build around this engine hoist rooftop tent hoist. To be able to do it with a one-man job, do it by ourselves, and take it on and off and not really have to grab a neighbor or a friend. But yeah, let me pull this off, and we'll do another video in a day or two that whenever the tent comes in, and we're going to get a top oak tent. It's one of the new wedge style tents. It's about 174 pounds, and it's also going to have an awning and a solar panel on top. So should be able to do it with this hoist, and we'll do a video of that and how that works, and an install review and any kind of changes. I hope you like that quick overview of our engine hoist rooftop tent setup. We're going to try it out here in the next week or so whenever we get the tent, and also if we may have to make any changes. Hey, we ended up getting the tent in and everything worked as expected. The only issue we saw is whenever we added the awning, it added a little bit more weight on that other side. That was an additional 80 pounds, and it worked fine up until we added that. It seemed like it was a little bit much for that lift. So going forward, I think I would do it fine with just the tent, and we need to do the awning separately. But other than that, it seems to work great. But, if you have any questions, please let me know. If you like these kind of videos, like and subscribe.